Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 50 years ago this week, a group of astronauts launched from Kennedy Space Center in Merritt Island, Florida, embarking on a journey of discovery into uncharted territory. July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong took one small step for man and one giant leap for mankind on the surface of the moon. Armstrong and fellow astronaut Buzz Aldrin spent 2.5 hours collecting samples and taking photographs. Critically and importantly, they left behind an American flag and some of the most famous footprints in history, sealing America's place as the leader of the space renaissance and the international space race. Our journey to outer space was born out of a desire to discover, but that wasn't the only reason we went to the moon. We also went to the moon to compete with Russia, specifically regarding protecting our nation's security. That competition still exists today, but it is even more serious now because of our economic and our military dependency on space, and because, in addition to Russia, we now have China explicitly stating its intent to surpass America as the leader in space. Russia and China have made it clear their intention is not just to explore space, but to prepare themselves for conflict. Russia and China both know that they will never be able to take us on tank to tank, carrier to carrier, plane to plane. So they've decided in their national security strategy to take us out in space if we ever have to come to blows. This is why I fully support the creation of the Space Force. This is why space has now been declared a warfighting domain. And if we don't prepare ourselves, our very way of life will be at significant risk. Our banking, our financial institutions, our global logistics, our telecommunications systems all depend on space. So the 21st century space race is on, and America must lead. And this is why the push for space resources and funding today is absolutely critical. As a member of the House Armed Services Committee and the Science, Space, and Technology Committee, I see how national security and space intersect every day. And as a Floridian, space is something that is absolutely in my DNA. It is from, of course, Florida's Kennedy Space Center that our astronauts launched to the moon. And I know that Florida will be a key player when we go back to the moon once more in 2024. And as NASA, the U.S. military, and American industry work together to maintain American leadership in space. In my district, in Northeast Florida, we are very fortunate to have companies who once again will assemble the lunar landers to help NASA get back to the moon. So looking back on this historic moon landing 50 years ago, or 50 years later, I hope we'll all remember what an incredible moment this was for our country. Our American values and American ingenuity have taken us to new worlds, not just on Earth, but beyond. It is an honor to celebrate these accomplishments here today, and it is absolutely critical that we continue exploring and we continue innovating. But it is also equally critical and that we fully understand that our competitors seek to supplant our leadership role in space, and they are not in line with our values. We cannot and will not allow that to happen. Mr. Speaker, I yield my time.